The read aloud is one of the most important tasks because it heavily impacts your speaking score and it heavily impacts your reading score. This task is easier said than done. A lot of times, you speak English like a champ, no hesitations. But when it comes to the read aloud, you read like you just did something wrong and your parents are about to whoop your ass. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Now, we all know that in speaking, we're going to be scored on fluency and pronunciation. And reading like this will not help you with the fluency and pronunciation, obviously, right? So, what's going to help us get that high fluency and high pronunciation? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video because I've been asked some crazy shit and I'll share with you my experience on what I think is real and what I think is not real. And there's been some crazy shit that's been real. And there's been crazy shit that I felt like, what the f are you talking about? But before we get started, in case you didn't know, once again, my name is Sonny and this is Sonny English. If you're new here, please consider subscribing because I provide real tips and tricks on how to get your PTE score. So y'all ready for this? Let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about, templates. This is such a common occurrence in the PTE, right? Because we can use templates in quite a few tasks. So people have asked me, can we just use a template in the read aloud? Now, first of all, I don't think anyone's ever told me that they were taught to use a template. So I'm not saying anyone out there is teaching it, but this is what I tell my students. Leave the dumb stuff to me. So if we don't know the answer to something, I'm going to test it. So what did I do? I went and tested it. I tried to use a template for the read aloud, and it didn't work out so well for me. I actually got 20. I got 20 in speaking. So if you are told to use templates or you're contemplating, thinking about using a template for read aloud, highly not recommended. Second thing, mic position. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. How can the placement of a mic affect your speaking score? Well, the reason is because no one's actually listening to you, right? It's all computer based. So it's not like taking a test where you record your voice and then somebody else is listening to it and thinking like, okay, this is the score that you're going to get. So it's all computerized. That's why it does matter where you place the microphone. Well, to me, in my opinion, because I have seen different results based on different mic positions. So this is one of the crazy things that I've heard about, or you've heard about, and I do actually talk about in my classes as well. The mic position matters. I actually made a video specifically talking about the two different mics that you might get taking the exam. So I'll link that video and you can check it out. There's two main microphones that you get, and the position of it does matter. Now is the third one. It's still related to the microphone. We're going to have a couple related to your voice or to the microphone. This one's not that crazy, but yeah, just stay tuned. It's going to get a little bit crazier. Now, I don't know if you've been told, but when you're doing the speaking, some people have been taught to cover the mic or cup the microphone. I myself, I've never tried it, and I never felt like I had the need to try it. And the reason is because when I teach people speaking, I teach people speaking. All of these alternative methods like cupping the microphone or changing your voice, I'll talk more about that later. That's not my go-to. In the very beginning, when we try to do speaking, I will teach you how to do speaking. And if we can't make the adjustments, and if I feel like the speaking has been done perfectly, then I'll start thinking, okay, it's not you, maybe it's something else. But if the first thing that you're taught is to do all these crazy things, yeah, maybe that's not the person that should be helping you speak English. All right, we're on to the fourth one. And this one's more related to your voice and not as much to the microphone. Now, ladies, I don't know if you heard this before, or even gentlemen, maybe you've heard this. Have you heard that PTE cannot pick up women's voices as well? Oftentimes, if you have a soft voice or a high-pitched voice, no matter how well you speak, the score doesn't come back as expected. I've experienced that myself, and I've had to make some adjustments as far as how women speak, how they project their voice. So I do try to adjust it to make sure it's not as high pitched. But one of the techniques that I've seen people use and they've been taught was to choke themselves. To choke themselves. What the? I don't understand the concept of that. I've never taught it that way. I think you can try to change your voice without choking yourself. Because what if you just passed the out when you're taking the exam? Nah, I'm not so serious. I don't think you'll pass out, but that is so strange. I don't think it is necessary for you to choke yourself or whatever the hell you're doing with your throat or your neck. I don't know. If you have to do that to change your voice, um, nah, that's not going to be an effective method for you because you can definitely try to change your voice without doing that. All right, the fifth one, this is directly connected to the previous one, and we're still talking about our voice. And what we talked about previously was that women's voices don't get picked up as good as men's. However, I've heard two students, both men, tell me that this is the technique that they have been taught, and they asked me whether or not they should continue doing it. And well, one of them clearly, when he demonstrated to me, he saw the difference in his score. When he applied that technique, his score dropped. Okay, but this is one of those crazy techniques. Um, they were taught to sound like women. Okay, to increase the pitch of their tones, and that's where you want to be careful because oftentimes you hear people say that tones, tones, tones. What does that even mean? They're not actually teaching you how to speak English. They're teaching you to sound like a woman. What does that even mean? They demonstrated it. Okay, they demonstrated it for me and I freaking laughed. Okay, in my mind, I'm thinking, what the F? I don't want to demonstrate that here because you might take that as a loop and then I'll get embarrassed by it. Okay, so I won't demonstrate my voice sounding like a woman. All right, but let me just ask my students, can I get a witness? Can I get a witness to my former students when we have obtained our speaking score? For those of you that have struggled to get the speaking score and we got it on the very next attempt working together, have I ever asked you to increase your pitch or soften your voice to sound like a woman? Absolutely not. I don't know where that's from. I hope the people teaching that actually taught it and it's effective. I myself do not believe that will be effective. First of all, we just talked about how women's voices don't get the score that they deserve, even when they speak very well. Why would I ask a man to try to change his voice to sound like a woman when we already have experienced bad results with women's voices, right? I'm not saying there's a problem. I'm not saying I have a problem with women's voices. I'm saying PTE cannot pick it up. So why will we go out of our way to try to sound like a woman? You feel me? The last one, number 6. This one is a very common one, and yes, it is a real thing that you have to worry about. And it's speed. We've talked about speed before. Should you read fast or should you read slow? That is a very important thing. Now, by now, hopefully everybody is on the same page. I know we're not on the same page. Okay, even though I'm saying that, because you still find tutorials teaching you to speak slow. So what does that mean? It's not effective. All right. For read aloud, speed is very important. From my experience, if you read slow, you're gonna have low scores, and that fluency will be low as well. All right. When I teach it, and I know a lot of people teach it the same way because I hear all my former students, they tell me what they learned from other places. And one thing that I feel like we can all agree on is the speed and the read aloud. So just be careful if you're studying PTE on the internet, on YouTube, because I believe there's one, maybe two, but I know for sure there's one place that's still teaching you to read nice and slow and chunk words and pause. Yeah, none of that's going to help you for the read aloud. So again, this is the last one, and speed is one of the important ones. It does matter, okay? You don't create that pace like I did in the beginning when I said Humpty Dumpty. That affects your speed and affects your pronunciation. So fluency and pronunciation will get dropped. Right, so there you have it. Those are some of the things that have been asked related to the read aloud. And again, my opinion, If you're having trouble with Read Aloud, maybe it's the reading. That's what you should address first. Don't consider all of those crazy theories before you actually fix how you're actually speaking. Fix the Read Aloud, fix your speed, fix the reading. If you thought the information was helpful, please check out my other tutorials. Once again, my name is Sonny, and this is Sonny English. Please remember to give me that like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.